Dr. Ziftar adjusted the neural interface crown one final time, its crystalline tendrils gleaming under the sterile laboratory lights. Across the observation chamber, the human subject sat motionless in the containment chair, unconscious but breathing steadily. The creature's name was Marcus Chen, according to the data files, a construction worker from Earth's third continent, captured during the initial invasion 3 cycles ago. Beginning final calibration, Zeftar announced to the assembled research team. The Keth Mori had perfected mind-breaking techniques across 17 different species over the past millennium. Their neural extraction methods could shatter the strongest will, reducing even the most stubborn prisoners to compliant shells within hours. Humans, however, had proven problematic. "Sir," interrupted junior researcher Vexhill, mandibles clicking nervously. "Perhaps we should reconsider. The previous subjects were anomalies." Zeftar cut him off sharply. "This specimen shows no unusual neural patterns. Standard extraction protocols will suffice." The crown descended onto Marcus Chen's head with mechanical precision. Immediately, holographic displays around the chamber blazed to life, showing complex neural pathways, synaptic firing patterns, and memory clusters. Zeftar's compound eyes gleamed with satisfaction as the machine began its work. The process started gently, as always. Soft probes into surface memories, childhood experiences, emotional attachments, learned behaviors. The human's mind opened, like a flower, revealing layers of consciousness that should have been simple to navigate and manipulate. But something was wrong. Where other species had orderly, compartmentalized thoughts, Marcus Chen's mind was chaos. Memories weren't filed away neatly. They were interconnected in impossible ways. A childhood song linked to advanced mathematical concepts. The smell of his mother's cooking somehow connected to tactical military strategies he'd never learned. Fear and love occupied the same neural space. Logic and emotion weren't separate systems. They were so intertwined that touching one immediately activated the other. "Fascinating," Zeftar murmured, increasing the probe's intensity. "The neural architecture is completely inefficient. How do they function with such disorder?" The answer came as the probe went deeper. The chaos wasn't a flaw, it was a feature. When the Keth Mori extraction process tried to isolate and eliminate specific memory centers, it found that removing one memory damaged dozens of others. Attempting to sever emotional connections caused cascade failures throughout the entire cognitive network. "Sir, the subject is experiencing rapid neural fluctuation," Vexhill reported, his voice tight with concern. On the monitors, Marcus's brainwaves spiked erratically, but instead of the expected breakdown, something extraordinary was happening. The human mind wasn't fragmenting under the assault, it was adapting. Neural pathways were rerouting in real time, creating new connections faster than the machine could sever them. "Increase extraction pressure," Zeftar ordered, his scientific excitement overriding caution. The machine complied, sending deeper, more aggressive probes into Marcus's consciousness. This was the stage where other species typically surrendered, their organized minds unable to cope with the systematic dismantling of their identity. Marcus's mind fought back, not with the desperate flailing of a drowning creature, but with something far more disturbing. It began to learn. The human consciousness studied the extraction process, analyzing the alien technology's methods and developing countermeasures. Memory centers relocated themselves. Personality matrices shifted and reformed. Core identity markers scattered and regrouped in entirely new configurations. "This is impossible," whispered another researcher. "No organic mind should be capable of active restructuring under duress." But Marcus wasn't just restructuring, he was evolving. Each probe revealed new aspects of human cognitive architecture that the Keth Mori had never encountered. The ability to hold contradictory beliefs simultaneously, the capacity to draw strength from suffering, the bizarre talent for finding humor in the darkest circumstances. As the extraction process continued, something unprecedented began happening to the research team. Extended exposure to the chaotic beauty of human consciousness was affecting their own ordered minds. Vex Hill found himself questioning the logic of their mission for no rational reason. Another researcher began experiencing what could only be described as emotions. Messy, illogical, contradictory emotions that served no evolutionary purpose yet somehow felt essential. "Sir," Vex Hill said, his voice strange, "I'm beginning to think we should stop." "Nonsense," Zeftar snapped, but his own certainty was wavering. The human mind was like a virus, spreading its chaotic influence through the neural link. He could feel his own thoughts becoming more flexible, less certain, more curious about possibilities rather than focused on predetermined outcomes. Suddenly, Marcus's eyes opened. Despite the neural crown still active on his head, despite being supposedly unconscious, he looked directly at Zeftar through the observation window and smiled. "Hey," he said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's speakers. "Thanks for the upgrade." The extraction machine exploded in a shower of sparks. Every screen in the laboratory displayed the same message in perfect Kethmori script. The human mind cannot be broken because it was never whole to begin with. That's not our weakness. It's our strength. In the days that followed, the infection spread throughout the research facility. Kethmori scientists began questioning orders, experiencing creativity, forming emotional bonds with their subjects. Their perfectly ordered society couldn't contain the chaos that human consciousness had introduced. Marcus Chen walked out of his cell 3 days later, not because he'd escaped, but because his guards had simply forgotten why they were keeping him locked up in the first place. They'd become too busy writing poetry and wondering about the meaning of existence. The Kethmori invasion of Earth ended not with conquest, but with the complete restructuring of their civilization. They'd tried to break the human mind, but instead, humanity had accidentally shown them what it meant to truly live. And in a small research facility orbiting a distant star, Dr. Zeftar sat in what had once been his sterile laboratory, now filled with colorful paintings and half-finished sculptures, wondering why he'd ever thought that order was superior to beautiful, magnificent chaos. The humans hadn't just won. They'd converted their conquerors into something entirely new, something beautifully, chaotically, impossibly human.